Hello, fellow Cedar Parkers. As we get into the thick of this new year and come up on the 3-year anniversary of the outbreak of the pandemic, Revi and I wanted to check in and share a few updates with you. If we haven't met yet, my name is Kally Walsh. I've been coming to Cedar Park United since the week that I moved to Montreal just over 10 years ago. Both my children, Alice, who's 7, and Henry, who is 4, have benefited from being part of the community since they were born, particularly since we have no other family in the country. And they say, "Yay, church," whenever I tell them that we're going. So I joined the board 3 years ago on the eve of the pandemic. And last fall, I was asked to step into the board chair role pro tem until a congregation-wide vote at our next ACM. So as we pull out of the depths of the pandemic, we gathered as a community over the last several months in a series of 7 Cedar Park Asks focus group conversations. These sessions were the first step in gathering essential feedback from the congregation as we move into the realities of 2023 and beyond. Some messages came through strongly. Others require further exploration. We heard how much this community means to those of us who are part of it in a variety of ways. We saw strong engagement with and care for the community and the consultation process. Many expressed gratitude for the various forms of ongoing connection, as well as a desire to rekindle others. And it was also clear that many of us, myself included, have experienced significant losses in the last few years and are still processing the grief. A lot of us are still hurting or healing, and many of us are tired. So in fitting with 2023 reality, Revi and I had hoped to meet on site to film this update at church. But due to a sick child and inclement weather, I was grateful to be able to connect from my kitchen instead. So hello, and I will now pass it over to Revi for the next section.
Thank you. Thanks, Kelly. So yeah, what are we going to do with the information, the sentiments, and the suggestions we've gathered so far? First thing, the need to gather and reconnect was just so clearly stated that the board has discerned that this should be our first priority in 2023. Therefore, all of the online activities continuing to meet the needs of those who are not yet ready to regather, and those of you who connect with us from distance, we are focusing our efforts to also create opportunities for gathering on site or in the geographic locations closer to where Cedar Parkers are living. And just some examples of things that have already happened and things that we're planning. We had our longest table goes indoors at the end of January. The mini connections folk are gathering now weekly on Wednesday mornings. Connections 2.0 is a way for us to gather monthly. Anybody can gather at these events, and they're being held in various locations, including the church community hall, as well as senior residences and online for our global cluster. And this coming week's Shrove Tuesday Pancake Supper is another one of these events, and it's going to be a time that will work not only for us, but for families and others. People from the Petit Ange daycare and this Cedar Park school will be joining for this, and also people from Roxborough.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Activities that connect Cedar Parkers with the local neighborhood community are also in this high priority category. This includes things like Voices for Hope, gathering simply to sing, as well as the ever popular line dancing activities, which I wish I could make it to at some point, which are helping to combat some of the isolation fatigue that many of us have experienced. The board is spearheading the planning for a series of concerts of various musical genres in the spring to welcome more people to our beautiful renovated sanctuary. We also heard loud and clear how worn down,
tired and weary. So many of us are, and I do say us. So in that spirit, we are putting an emphasis on caring for each other and to make sure, as the metaphor goes, that our own oxygen masks are on as we do so. So this does mean that the pace of adding onto on-site programming is deliberately slower than maybe some of us are used to. And it also includes things like adjusting the frequency to make sure that the burden and responsibility is less stressful. And in other situations, we're figuring out new, less volunteer dependent ways to do things while not expecting the staff to pick up the slack. And again, some of the examples of this priority in action include the Healing Pathway team that is regrouping, renewing, and refreshing and rekindling during this winter period with the hope of restarting with clients later in the spring, not just for Cedar Parkers, but for people throughout the West Island United Church cluster. And another one that's just emerging is a beautiful potential new partnership developing with West Island Mission. And this is to dedicate our garden bed space to their program for producing locally grown fresh produce for West Islanders who need food assistance. And we're really hopeful that what this will do will mean that our partnership means we can tap into support from the West Island Mission team while also retaining some hands-on activities for ourselves in the vegetable garden, as well as continuing with the healing garden.
The pandemic has permanently shifted many things in general and in the ways churches and other community spaces and workplaces operate. With the shift to remote work during the pandemic, one silver lining has been that to some extent, the chronic overtime that our church staff often had to put in when working on site in a busy building has been somewhat reduced, although they do still go above and beyond on a regular basis. The pandemic also created a need and an opportunity to increase and streamline the use of digital cloud-based technologies at Cedar Park for remote work, document sharing, and of course, Zoom gatherings. All of this has changed the church workplace as much as it has changed other workplace environments, like where I work in human resources. Workplaces and society generally are still in this transition phase. At Cedar Park as well, it's a work in progress for now, in keeping always with our priorities. So for now, our church administrator works on site on Wednesday mornings. Revi works on site most Tuesday mornings. All the staff are on site for programming or on-site appointments in which they're directly involved. And as our program and activities calendar continues to expand on weekdays and weekends, it will increase to access things like the comfort food freezer, just as an example. Additionally, extensive work has been put into our website. It has been updated and upgraded to be a 24/7 resource and communication tool, in addition to other channels we use, such as email, newsletters, and social media.
And again, in response to those bold conversations with Cedar Parkers near and far, worshiping together on site and online is our present reality as we emerge from, or perhaps continue to live with, the continued impact of the pandemic. Cedar Park has been incredibly blessed with a dedicated and committed and skilled team of volunteers who have helped to build on our initial Baylor Twine Studio initiatives of the first year, so that we've emerged to become pretty good at creating this high quality online worship experience. So this, coupled with the pandemic provoked Sunday Soul Food, which is a free subscription offering that contains links to worship and print and video elements, it means that Cedar Park United is now on the map as a dependable resource, not only for longtime Cedar Parkers, but also for newer members or globally located friends and strangers. So it's helping us in our mission to share an open and affirming, progressive, compassionate, and socially engaged way of being God's people that is really so much needed in a tired, polarized, and weary world.
And as we begin to wrap up this update, I want to be sure to express deep appreciation and pleasant surprise for all the contributions of time, talent, and financial support, which helped our community of faith to end the year on a very solid footing. It's a pleasure to work alongside all of you.
Thanks. Thanks for that. I'm looking ahead a little bit, and I'm looking ahead to Lent. For the first time in 3 years, we actually get to plan a Lent and Easter season that is anchored in worship from the sanctuary with people in it. And I can't tell you how exciting that is. So worship on site and live stream recorded is going to happen in addition to various on-site online opportunities for us to study together, to worship, to care, not only for ourselves, but for others. So we've called our Lent theme this year, Lent in Plain Sight. And you'll be able to connect with all of these programs and activities by checking out the details on our website and through the Friday updates.
And finally, I'm excited to confirm the date for our annual congregational meeting. I hope to see as many of you as possible in person or online on Sunday, March 19th, 2023 at 11 a.m.
So thank you. My thanks for you to watch this video of the two of us, and hope that this gives you a picture of what is to come in the weeks ahead. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you.